Hi, welcome back. So let's talk about closure real quick. All right, closure is somewhat necessary when you get out of a relationship. It's not always necessary, but hey, it's nice to have it. You know what I mean? The way that people usually do closure is like, over the phone, text message, maybe a conversation face to face directly after. It's usually not after too long, but hey, we're not all the same. Some of us like to go on cut and confront each other in the dark, and that's exactly what we're gonna watch today. I always loved the in the dark videos of cut just because it's something different. It's very I find it to be entertaining. Like sometimes I'll be like, no way, oh my god, she did that. So today we're gonna do that. We're just gonna watch a new one because I did peep that there was a new one. I'm wearing hats until I get a haircut because I look crazy.
What would it take for us to get back together?
The first step would obviously be sobriety. When's the last time you smoked?
Yeah, like a week. I don't know.
That didn't sound confident
I
at
don't
all.
know the date. I
that
didn't
boy
write the
capping.
date down in my calendar.
What are you doing here?
I am Sam, and I'm going to be talking to my ex-girlfriend.
What do you want to say?
I'm hoping to get some closure. I think just the way that things ended with us, it's just been hard for me to move on.
There were resolutions and sort of developments that have happened since we ended things that I would like to talk about.
Why don't you feel closure?
I feel like we didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of like why we broke up.
Oof.
Just kind of ended and we transitioned into being friends.
Why in the dark?
I think that that's even more awkward when a relationship just ends and then you switch to being best friends. I mean, I've never personally done it, and I've never personally done it because I think that it's awkward, especially if no conversation was had to understand exactly what the problem was and why the relationship ended. It just gives off bad vibes in general. Plus, I don't know, being friends with an ex is truly a hard thing to do. Like right after the breakup, it's not heard of. Well, it is heard of, but not in my world. Not in my world. Like directly after, nah, not happening.
Confrontational person, but I find that other people aren't. So I think that it's more comfortable for other people either to do things over the phone or not face to face, although I guess this will be, but we won't see each other.
I absolutely hate confrontation. I do not enjoy confrontation, not even in the slightest. If you ask my fiance right now, she would tell you the exact same thing. I don't like arguing. I don't like fighting. Don't like arguing with people on the internet. It's just not my thing. I'm very laid back. I'm opinionated, but I most of the time keep my opinions to myself because realistically, everybody has their own opinion and that's completely fine. But the banter and bashing due to having an opinion nowadays is kind of nuts. It's kind of OD.
Ready to do this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Lights off.
Ooh, the lights off, baby. Let's get it.
Hi.
Oh, did I just touch your face?
I'm like still
Should I try to
closing
get
my
closer,
eyes.
or- Oh, I feel like we're too close.
Hi.
Awkward, bro.
Do you want to explain why we're here today?
Well, I think you know that I'm very sorry for the way things ended with us.
I feel like every time you say you're sorry, it just kind of like feels like a slap in the face because I gave you so many chances to fix things, and to just turn around and say, oh, I'm sorry, with no action to back it up was just heartbreaking.
I understand that. I mean, realistically, you can only give somebody so many chances before it kind of is just like a dub. Like, you can't give too many chances or else you're just a doormat at that point. So I understand what she's saying. I don't know what she's saying sorry about or he's saying sorry about, but we're about to find out anyways, so.
I'm sorry for lying to her.
About what?
Smoking.
Weed, alcohol, and some other stuff.
Realistically, I mean, I'm not the one to talk because I was a college student. I drank, I did other stuff. I didn't do anything hard though. Like I did things as a college student and even as a high school student, and then I branched out to being an adult and now I just drink on occasion. I don't drink on a regular basis, but like he looks like a young dude. I would say that he's only like 20, 22, 23 years old. He's still got a baby face. He only has that little patch of hair down here. He's a child still. And that's what, not children, but He's a young adult. That's what young adults do. They experiment with things. They like to do their stuff, but like it depends on how much of an addict you would say that this person was. She could be mad if that was a boundary that was set, then it's like, all right, but then again, it's weed and alcohol. That's normal stuff that people consume on a day-to-day basis. It's not like it's heroin, cocaine, anything like that. That's my opinion though. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you because I wanted to tell you that I'm sorry. I think that I would start out with that. I think there's a lot that I have to apologize for.
I honestly stopped feeling special, you know. A lot of the things stopped that were there in the early stages of our relationship that, like, you know, won me over. Part of me feels like you kind of chose work over me, but I also know that, like, I didn't have a job at the time, so that was a lot of responsibility for you.
That's something that I don't usually understand. I mean, I get, okay, the part about, oh, you don't show the same feelings that you showed when in the beginning of the relationship. I understand that people tend to not put as much energy into it after they get with the person. That goes for males and females. But the part about working, I never truly understand it. Like, obviously women want to be loved, men want to be loved, and work does get in the way of that sometimes. But at the end of the day, we all have to go to work. We all have to make our money. We all have to do what we have to do in order to survive. And if somebody's choosing that they need to work and they're trying to get to a certain pedestal so that they can elevate both people in the relationship, then I don't see what's wrong with it. Again, I could be wrong. These are my own thoughts, my own opinions. You're entitled to whatever you want to believe. But realistically, I feel like, I don't know, that's always a weird thing for me when it comes to two people breaking up, is that, oh, you chose work over me. It's like we could either live on Section 8 or we could live in a $400,000 house. You know what I mean? It's always a weird topic to me.
Ties me a lot when it comes to relationships. I've spent the last 2 years overcoming that and healing from that, and I think this is kind of the final thing to really heal from that trauma.
2
And
years.
unfortunately, when I look back on our memories, majority of them are bad.
Yeah, it hurts.
And one of those memories was you wanted to go meet up with one of your friends who was in town, and you had been drinking a little too much, and when we got there, you just took tequila shots from him and everything. While I was sitting on the couch, I look over and you're kissing him in the kitchen.
I got so drunk that night that I fell asleep naked in my own house alone and peed in my closet.
Say something that you peed in your closet.
Yeah, that was not my best night.
Now that's something right there. Like, I would never allow that. That's just something that cannot be taken lightly. But 2 years, and then you come on this show is kind of crazy to me as well, because realistically, I don't think I would ever try and find any type of closure in a relationship 2 years after it ended. I like to do that like right away. Like, just let's put the band-aid on, let's stitch it up so that I could just start moving on with my life. But it is different for everybody, so I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It's weird to me to think about little moments that you remember that I don't, because they were insignificant to me, but they weren't to you.
I mean, the roughest part of our relationship was probably the beginning. You getting over your addiction, but it just ended up being a recurring issue.
I feel like that guy, it wasn't just like medicinal use. I feel like if she's talking about it like that, like he must have actually had a legit problem with drinking and smoking if she's taking it to that extent. I don't want to misjudge her, but like if she's just talking about like, oh, this guy does it for fun, that's it, then she's kind of overreacting. But the way that she's putting it out makes it seem like it was an issue, and then he got back into it, and then that's just a no-go. So I don't know.
I feel like part of me took you for granted a lot, but I also felt taken for granted myself.
And that was the last thing I wanted to do, was make you feel like you're being taken for granted. It was so surreal starting to date you like during the pandemic.
No, yeah, we had so much time
And
together.
then coming back to reality from that is like, it took like 1,000 steps back.
A lot of people don't take like COVID relationships into account either, because they're so used to being with that person consistently over and over and over. And obviously that broke up a lot of relationships, but it also made a lot of relationships, and the world came back. like we're back to reality now, and it's a fucked up reality, but at the end of the day we're in reality now. And sometimes people are just too codependent on each other, and that can't really be, it can't be a sustainable relationship like that, because one person's gonna get tired of the other person's gonna get tired of the other. It's just a mess. So I feel like COVID really did screw up a lot of stuff, but it is what it is.
Every time that you made your decisions, did you consider what was at stake? Because I had told you every time, right? It always threatened the relationship if you had relapsed or went behind my back.
I feel like I kind of didn't let myself think about the consequences. I just kind of...
You chose not to, or?
Probably.
I feel like he doesn't even know what to say, but I didn't move to the big camera because I just want you to see the utter pain in this girl's face. But like, when somebody's going through a problem like that, they have to work on it themselves. If they don't want to work on it, it's never gonna change.
I think one of the biggest dynamics that we had was that you would have very high expectations for me. So I would try to reach whatever standard you set for me, and the moment I got there, you would act like I didn't reach it at all. I remember that conversation that I told you that you never told me you were proud of me or anything like that, and you're like, why would I be proud of you? You haven't done anything to make me proud of you.
I had a problem with sort of like the negative self-talk in my head, you know, like coaching myself, you know, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're doing this wrong. How are you fucking this up? I think it's been a total slap in the face of how I expected myself to be and other people.
Emiliano, is there anything you think I could give you in terms of closure? Any questions you have unanswered?
Yeah, would you want to get back together at some point?
Well, first of all, I would have to not be seeing somebody right now in a hypothetical sense, hypothetically. Honestly, if we had more time for each other, that's one of the biggest things for me is like quality time, like right place, right time type of thing.
What would it take for us to get back together?
The first step would obviously be sobriety. When's the last time you smoked?
Yeah, like a week. I don't know.
That didn't sound confident at
I don't
all.
know the date.
He smoked last night, honey. He smoked before he came to this. He was like, yo, roll that up real quick. I can't walk into this being high, bro. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Write the date down in my calendar.
I don't think that we can even be friends because you'd only be getting half of what you wanted. And I feel like us communicating kind of makes it harder for you to like get over that idea of like hoping and like regret and all those things.
Yeah, I think that after we called things off for the final time, I think that it was a really weird situation for me because I didn't really mourn our breakup for like a year. I don't know if it was just, you know, how I used to be really busy and doing things all the time, just sort of like distracted. And so I think that was, at first it wasn't anything to me, and then it kind of hit me like a wall.
I thought I was fully healed from that, but intuition is weird, and I was thinking about, before I got the text for this, I was thinking about the fact that I want to heal from this fully, and so it felt like the perfect timing to really just let it go.
I feel like that relationship, they just weren't good for each other in general, and they should just leave it as how it is. Obviously, I don't think that they would even consider getting back together, but realistically, like, she's damaged goods, she damaged her too much. They both have like a little incy bitsy bit of self-consciousness. They aren't that confident. I could definitely tell that from both of them. And yeah, they should probably just not get back together at all.
Do you think closure is possible at this point?
I think so, with time. Hoping that this conversation helps with that.
I don't know if I'll fully ever get over you going behind my back, but again, like you said, time heals, and I'm ready for the healing.
Overall, I am so sorry. I want to say that I hope that you really realize your self-worth and how cool of a person that you are, and I hope that this isn't something that you need to do that because you don't need me to tell you that. I don't know if it's necessarily closure, but just kind of, I guess it would be closure.
Yeah, thank you.
Oof.
Lights on.
All right, I'm just gonna say my thoughts about each couple real quick. This couple should not get back together. She's the one on the right is self-conscious. The one on the left seems like she caused a lot of issues in the relationship. It could have been both of them, but based on what happened and why they broke up, she was the problem, pretty much.
Can I hug you?
Sure.
Nice little hug.
It was cool.
cool.
I felt like
Like-
I could say a little bit more of what I haven't said to him before.
I felt like this couple, I think that she gave up a little too quick. Again, this is just based on what they put in this episode. It seems like the man was just trying to work. He was just trying to get to his bag. And realistically, that's what men are intended for. We are supposed to get to the bag, right? That's what it says all over the internet. That's what everybody believes. Men are the breadwinners. Go make your money. Da 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 da. So all he was trying to do is go get to the bag. It was a COVID, whatever you want to call it. It was a COVID relationship, and they probably gave up a little bit too quick. To the degree of what he was doing at work, have no idea, but I feel like they gave up a little too quick.
I liked it a lot. It was
This couple, I legitimately think that I think that he has some inner demons that he's fighting, and she wasn't willing to sit there and deal with it with him. I think that she just didn't want to be as supportive. And obviously, again, don't know what to the extent it was, but it's always, people have problems. And usually in a relationship, you try and help the other person out. But again, don't know to the extent. So
It's less stressful. You couldn't see the faces I was making either, so when you were talking, so
same.
same.
I mean, some faces were made. You did the same thing. What you looking at me like
You're
that
right,
for?
you're right. I can't judge. I can't judge.
I feel like this has brought us closer. Like,
No, honestly, I do.
I feel like we help each other get out of our comfort zones,
That's true.
whether we're dating or we're not.
Very true.
Is there a future friendship here? Is there a future unblocking from social media?
I don't know about friendship. I think just acquaintances, probably, at least for now. Knowing that you understand your role in our relationship helps me be able to move on and not hold any hatred for her.
all right, that was a bit of a longer one. I did a lot of talking during that one. The original video is 8 minutes. I'll leave it in the description if you're tired of hearing me talk. But that's what I thought about that. I always have a lot of thoughts about those more than the button. Again, I am a relationship man. I love being in a relationship. I don't like being single. So, but yeah, if you like this style of content, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know. And yeah, I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.